These two bullet points are bullet points that Carmen Martinez from the Housing Committee is going to talk on. So there's particularly no real outside agency coming there, but she's going to talk on this issue. We cut out the Empire Study Group, who was going to originally present. I had to amend it because my fault. I didn't send it to the proper committee prior. What happened with that, and I want to explain to y'all, I received the email, the board received the email, and I received the email from New York State Senator Hamilton's office regarding a group that wants to come and speak on the Empire Study Group. I'm thinking it's someone from Senator Hamilton's office coming, so we're trying to say, okay, they're going to probably shed light and give some light on the issue, but then I found out later on that it was someone from MTOP and other various groups who's going to speak and present, and I was like, oh, we can't really do that.
Okay.
So I had to really follow protocol, and I had to follow, so I'm sending it to.
Flack on that tomorrow.
I know, and I had to get prepared.
You're going to get serious flack on that tomorrow.
But I sent the email out.
But you did the right
what I'm
thing.
going to do, I sent the email out this morning to Jarvis and Senator Hamilton's office, and also sent the email out to Alicia Boyd and Professor Angadi, who was supposed to present, and letting them know, and I copied the board, and I'm going to send it to the chairs as well, letting them know the email that went out, so we all can be at abreast saying, well, he did contact them. Neither one of them got back in contact with me or the board saying anything else, so we don't know what to expect tomorrow. But just to put that out there, because I think what happened before during Pearl's times is that they would just put it on it without going through any particular committee. And
Which committee is it going?
It's going to go to the Europe Committee. It will go to the Europe Committee, which is from Michael Bird. Okay. That's that. So that's this right here. Then we're going to go right into, I think it's going to be a pretty short, little one. It's going to be a pretty short meeting tomorrow, because then we go from these two items right into public comment period. So whoever calls into the board office, Terry will give that information to us, and we'll let them speak. Then we go to approving the minutes. I didn't put that in the bullet, but I want to share with you about the minutes. Committee reports, which all the committees who are coming up to speak on their committee reports. Then we're voting on agenda items that we didn't get a chance to vote on in December because we lost quorum during business session. We did my chairman's report. So pretty streamlined meeting, all right? So notes for tonight, and I want everyone to just please chime in.
Oh,
Yeah, no worries.
Wait for Michael to come in.
Michael is it?
Yeah, he is. So moving on from here, the first bullet point I want to talk about, and I want everyone, because you're our chairs, we should chime in. We should chime in and comment on anything that we talk about tonight. And because of the open meetings law, I just want to let you know that we do have wonderful friends in the video camera here. So, all right. The first bullet I want to talk about is touching base with all chairs, touching base with Terry before the beginning of the following month to set up your committee dates and meeting dates, so we can put it on our website. I know Terry has, good evening, Michael. Good evening. I know Terry has dates already set. And good evening, Ms. Baker.
Good evening.
Terry has already set dates for the committee meetings. However, sometimes, I think recently, there have been committees who were fluctuating their certain dates. So we're trying to keep our website tip-top up to date. So residents are saying, oh, it's not on that website. No, we did it a month before. So we already have it up there. So if you know the dates, or if you're thinking that the following month you're going to switch your date for any reason, just send an email to Terry and CC me so we can update it accordingly. We're talking about the dates for any meetings prior month. If you know it's going to change, just send that date to Terry and CC me so we can keep that abreast. Also, just not to go too far, to Warren and Michael LeBert and Pat Baker, we talked about the agenda for tomorrow. Talked about how it was amended, removing Empire Study Group. I sent the email out to them advising them that it's just going to go to your committee, which is your committee first, prior to going to the full board and to see the presentation. And we removed also the bridge project that was originally on here because there's a pending lawsuit on that, so I had to remove that off of the agenda.
Mr. Chair,
yes,
should 2 and 3 be removed as well? Because I'm not sure they went to committee either.
These two are Carmen's and they did go to committee. She's gonna speak on that tonight.
She did? She said they went through?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Oh, okay.
She's actually supposed to be here tonight to speak on that. She
Okay.
actually asked to put this on the agenda because they came to her.
Oh, okay.
So I'm hoping she comes so
Okay.
she can
Yeah.
update us on this. So again, so the first bullet is touching base with Terry, getting your meetings on the next date. And if, this is important too, that me and Terry was talking about, if you know that you're not gonna have a meeting that night, for any reason, try to reach out to Terry early in the day, because she texts me, I don't know. So Terry's here, so she wants to make sure she can send the email out with ample time, because it's only her, so she don't want to be swamped, all right? The next thing is turning in committee minutes on a timely basis on our, according to our bylaws, and it's supposed to be 3 days after initial meeting. I know sometimes everybody gets busy with their work schedules, including myself, but we get it 3 days in, within a week time. Within a week's time of your initial meeting. Any questions on that? Yes, Tim.
If I mean, with the overall board minutes, they tend to be like a month or two behind.
I'm gonna talk about that tonight. Excuse me.
It's pro mile. She's ditching it. Ding.
Hey, Jackie.
How about you guys? But it's hard. It's hard to take minutes while you're trying to run a meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that tonight.
So to go on that point, what you're saying, and have it here, the general board meetings, and I wanted to bring into this, we talked about the executive committee, but now the committee chairs are going to be part of the executive committee. Stuart Balbert, I've approached him on several occasions. It's totally unacceptable. When we have our general meetings, he's supposed to have the minutes within 3 days. Granted, because there's so much to transcribe, we try to give him a week. But he does the minutes for the prior month, the day of the next month, in the morning. And that's totally unacceptable. And that's why I find out we've been back on our minutes, and we don't have April's of last year, we don't have, I think, November of last year or something like that. So we're back behind. I told Stuart, I said, Stuart, we need you to do these minutes. And I know he was sick last year.
Maybe he needs help.
So I know he was sick last year. So what we talked about, I don't know if you noticed, but I've had Kyra Lee, who's been coming in and sitting and taking in the minutes. But I know she has a heavy school load of work. And I'm going to put it out tomorrow to see if there's a board member who wants to help. And I know you do wonderful minutes in our executive committee meetings, but I don't want to, put so much on you. But we do have a tape recorder.
Yeah.
Is there money in the budget to pay somebody to be our secretary?
We would have to hire someone, but we're going to pay a salary for Terry, then we're going to pay a salary for a new district manager, and then we need an assistant to help out in the office. It's not, we have to use one of the 48 board members. Appointed board member to take the minutes. So, I don't know who's going to volunteer to do that, because I know a lot of people don't like doing minutes.
So what about rotating volunteers?
That's a good point. That's a good idea.
This way nobody can say no.
Or I feel locked into.
We only have to do it once every 48 months, right?
Yeah, everybody takes a shot at it.
So wait,
We'll be gone by then.
what is this person responsible for doing?
Just taking the minutes.
So what is Stuart responsible for?
Taking the minutes. But Stuart comes in late.
Ah, okay.
And we have the tape recorder that records it, but we need someone to come in on time, start recording the minutes, and coming back to the office to transcribe it from the tape recorder and or videotape of the minutes so we can send it to, disseminate to everyone on a timely basis, not the following month, before the next new meeting. So it's unacceptable.
So I'll take the first shot.
So you're gonna do tomorrow meeting.
Yeah, I'll take the first
So
shot.
even if Stuart comes in,
Even
you
if he
still
comes in.
can continue writing.
Yeah.
Does Stewie know about this?
Yes, I spoke to Stuart about it.
I'll take the first shot.
But he still says that he wants to do the minutes. He doesn't want to be removed, and I don't want to remove him, but we need a backup plan.
The history here is that no one else would run
This
the
is true.
secretary, so we begged Stewie.
Okay.
So let's treat it with dignity.
Okay, there's point of order. Secretary is a position on the executive committee.
It is.
So we got rotating secretaries. We don't have a secretary.
No.
If
You're
we,
saying Stewart's the secretary.
Stewart's the
He still
secretary for
holds the
executive.
title.
He still holds the
He's
position.
He's an elected official, he's
Yeah.
elected.
Yeah,
We're
he,
just-
we're not gonna remove him.
They're just assisting.
You're just helping them.
Yeah.
out.
So then,
Secretary's doing-
whoever's taking the notes and sends it to him.
No.
I mean, it is an official position.
No, he is an official position. Whoever takes the notes, the person's just gonna be the backup to Stewart. So whoever's person that's taking the notes, they're gonna actually transcribe their notes as well and send it to Terry. Stewart can still do the minutes, but if he doesn't come on time, we got that person taking the minutes in the beginning. So we're
How
gonna
about
catch
letting
everything.
Stewart catch up with whatever is behind, and the person who is assisting him or,
Yeah.
or spotting him can take it forward, and then he just gotta catch up.
So then that person, but you see, the whole thing is this. We're still gonna have Stewart coming in the following month, the day of the meeting, to do the minutes, transcribing it.
So why don't we get a new secretary? I'm missing
We
something.
can do that. That's what I wanna bring before the board, to make a motion to give, I wanna give Stewart opportunity, saying,
Does he want the gig?
that's what I wanna ask him. He keeps saying that he wants to do it, but I wanna give him an opportunity, like, still, we, as a board, this is not gonna work.
But to Warren's point, nobody wanted it.
Nobody,
So I mean, maybe
I gotta
somebody
pitch it out
now
again.
would want
Somebody
it.
ain't want it
So,
now.
yeah, maybe somebody now would want it,
Yeah,
but.
but hold on a second, you can't have two sets of minutes.
no, we're gonna have
Just
one
hold on.
set.
If you're gonna have someone send a minutes to
Mhm.
Terry, and Stewie's gonna have his minutes,
Okay.
that's two sets of minutes.
So the person that takes the minutes will send it to what,
Stewart.
Stewart?
Stewart.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we're gonna be, we're relying on Stewart
The
to
only one
transcribe the
authorized
minutes.
to do it is Stewie.
Okay.
So then Stewart, but then we still go back in circles. She's still gonna have that backup,
Stewart waiting for him.
waiting for him to actually catch up.
My suggestion is,
So you-
why don't you have the assistant meet with Stuart and make sure that minutes is done? And then send it to Terry.
Yeah, what's his,
You know,
does he have a
Busy
particular issue
schedule or
or
something,
we haven't talked to him yet?
I spoke to him, and all he says is, I can't do it on the times that he was supposed to do it, he's busy.
What's to prevent Terry from doing it? She's gonna have to type them up anyway.
She types them up after,
But why did she do the minutes?
So does Stu listen to the tape and then type
does.
me down?
he listens to the tape, and watch,
then
no, he
gives
does,
it
he
to
listens to the
Terry,
tape and he watches the
And then
videotape.
Terry cleans it up.
But that's the thing, it's like if Terry's gonna spend all that time cleaning it up, she might as well just.
Why don't
Exactly.
you just tell Stewie the next meeting's the 30th?
You.
So what are we gonna do, have board members take minutes?
Why don't we get Stewie like a speech to text thing and he can feed it in there and just give it to Terry, it'll take 5 minutes.
We could do that.
We should, I guess.
Terry's
That's
getting paid
a
enough, so
good idea.
she could,
That's a
I
good
sort of
idea.
feel like if she's gonna be, she kinda has to be there.
yeah,
Yes.
Right?
yeah.
So she can be in charge of the minutes, and then she can send them to Stewie and to you. And you guys can
She's
take-
not required to be at the meeting,
do
the
it.
district manager's required
Hold
to be
on.
there.
Yeah,
and the
Terry
chair.
doesn't-
She's not required to be there.
She has been though.
She's only came to help me out.
The
she's
secretary
not
was
required.
elected to generate the minutes.
Correct.
I was about to
But
say
on
that,
most boards that I
you know.
sit, that secretary is more of an honorary position than somebody else.
What about
who's getting
but-
paid is actually.
But the community boards secretaries is different.
It's
Yes.
not
It's
Oh, yeah.
different. Yeah, it's not.
Because he
Well-
was duly elected, and that's
Exactly,
Right.
and he's the
not
secretary.
that we are trying to push him out, we're just trying to make sure that we get the minutes done in a
Mhm.
timely manner so that the board can get the minutes in a timely manner. So we're just working at trying to figure out a way, how we can make that happen. And
But it's the second.
Demetrius has spoken to him and it don't seem.
And I spoke to him personally. I spoke to the president of Terry, and it's still. I mean, this is from last year, and it's still doing the same.
So the way I see it, you have two choices.
Mhm.
Either you have Terry do it, or we all take turns to do this with Stuart. I don't see any other choice. Or you hire somebody else. That's your third choice. Or elect somebody
Yeah,
else.
okay, I was gonna say.
Or elect somebody?
Yeah, I mean, if he can't do it, he can't do it.
Yeah,
Can I have the floor?
sure.
September, October, November, December, he's had enough warnings. We need a new
Yes.
secretary.
Yep.
I'm not sure what's going on.
Yep.
We need to move forward.
I agree.
I totally agree.
I agree.
I totally agree.
How do we make that happen? Do we have to go into executive session to talk about this? Do we go to executive committee? What do we have
I
to do?
think it should go before the executive committee. Ms. Baker?
Yes, I think so.
So we'll bring it before the executive committee.
And when we bring this in front of the executive committee, I think we should go into executive session.
Oh, yeah.
Because we are talking about sensitive matters here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it should be just the executive committee members
Yeah.
that is having this discussion, because we wanna be sensitive to people and respect them. We don't wanna have this,
Definitely.
yeah.
You just need to check the bylaws to see how you get rid of an officer.
No,
We saw that.
There's
It has to go
nothing-
before the executive committee before it goes to the full board within 30 days.
I believe, as if I recall, a majority of the executive
Exactly.
can remove
Mhm.
an officer, but then there has to be a whole election, which means a nominating committee. I mean, it's a whole
Mhm. Nominating
process.
committee, I know.
Can you
You're
appoint?
better off.
You can't appoint.
You can?
You can't appoint.
Oh,
You
okay.
can't appoint, yeah. Chair can't appoint.
Okay, well,
But
there you go.
but you gotta get someone who wants to volunteer to do it.
Well, you have a lot of phone calls to make, Mr. Chair.
I guess so. If I got that note here, so
You know, why don't you just tell Stewie you really needed an extra amount of time, give him the choice,
He did.
and if it's yes, yeah, but now it's the.
I'm gonna say I spoke to the
Right, and if it's
executive
yes,
committee and the chairs, and this is
you
unanimous
know,
vote
be
that.
compromising,
yeah.
say in, I don't know, 10 days from the meeting, okay? Because you don't need him prior to that per se. And give him the choice,
Okay.
and that way it'll be his action.
So the
Alright,
next,
one last shot.
well, that's
Yeah.
right. But so you're still gonna copy tomorrow?
Sure.
right?
I can
Thank
do
you.
it. I'll pitch in for now.
Cool. The next bullet is,
I have
sure,
I'm sorry, one other thing about minutes. So with the minutes for the overall board meeting, we have a moment during the regular meeting where people can make changes to those meetings or suggest changes.
Wait, say that again?
Right? When you look over the minutes,
Yes.
we don't do that for committee reports. So I got into a situation where my minutes were not completely accurate, but nobody told me that, or I didn't think to go back to those minutes and make sure that they were correct.
Correct.
I submitted them as a lot of us do quickly and just, try, and then you move on, and suddenly somebody's looking back at the minutes from 4 months ago, and you realize you need to make a change. I'm the one who did the minutes, I need to make a change. What's the process for that? Like, if you want to make a change, frankly, I don't read through all the minutes very carefully, but if I did, I might notice some mistakes. Maybe the wrong people were at the meeting or whatever.
I know. So if that comes up at a board meeting, in real time, you make the change, and you vote on it.
Exactly, at the
that
board
point.
meeting.
Okay.
But the step before that, the minutes probably should be voted on at the committee level first.
That's what
Oh,
that's that.
Demetrius, do you say?
Hold on a
do
second,
that?
so you're saying
Change?
the committee minutes should be voted on the,
They should. At the
Technically,
beginning.
they should.
Just like at the board meeting.
They should.
On the committee level.
Yeah, so
At the beginning of the
since-
committee
oh, that's
meeting,
your
you read the minutes from the last
from the
time.
last meeting?
Or they
And
would-
I would have gotten into a lot less trouble.
Yeah.
We've
Did
done that
everyone
because
read the
somebody
minutes?
would have said, hey,
Can we
what's up
vote
with
on
these minutes?
And if they didn't vote on them, if they didn't read them, then go back and read them. We're not gonna waste time in the meeting to do that.
Correct,
Right.
correct,
Go
correct.
back and we'll vote next time.
See,
We'll vote
my-
at the meeting.
My
That's
concern
just
is that members of committees in general, if they have an issue with the committee, the first step is always to go to the chair of the committee. It's not to take it to the executive committee or to the board chairman.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of times these things will be resolved.
Exactly.
I'm getting blindsided with something that
Unless
was
people
never
just-
brought to my attention. It was
Unless
only
they
brought
just
to my
wanna make
attention.
trouble, but the proper procedure is that.
You go to the chair.
Yeah, and then the whole committee. Like if I'm wrong, I'll be the first to admit it.
Are we
But I gotta be
discussing
told.
that now?
No, we're not.
No,
No,
I'm
we're
just-
not. Yeah,
I'm
you
just
should-
saying that's something that came about because there wasn't a clear reading of the minutes each time in committee, and that's got to be done.
Gotcha, so we're gonna.
And I've been remiss, and Michael said he's been remiss, and I
As well as myself, so we all take, human.
What I do is, as soon as I do my minutes, I send them out to my committee.
okay.
And as I transmit them to Terry, I send it to Demetrius and to everybody on the committee. And then if they have any comments, they just get back to me.
But at the next meeting, do you?
We don't
No,
have to
no,
make,
this is prior to our meeting.
yeah, because they don't have to
Correct.
make any because
They're
corrections already made.
corrected. If there's any comments, you integrate them
I
before
think that's a great
that.
idea.
But do you vote on them in your meeting?
Huh?
Do you vote on them?
On the minutes?
Mhm.
Yeah, at the next meeting.
Should.
That they're fine, that
We
they're
don't-
approved, you approve the
we
minutes,
don't-
you
we
approve
don't-
the minutes.
Should.
Actually, we don't, but we
Should.
can.
Yeah.
Because I assume,
So we should do that. The committee should vote on it, right?
just email them out.
Just
And
approve the
then vote.
minutes.
Because we lose
um,
everybody.
And that way it's checked off by not just you, there's some checks and balances.
Yeah.
And so by the time it gets to the board,
Yes.
they weren't at the meeting. They
Yes.
just have to say, okay, these were voted on by the committee, and it's just a formality by the board.
It used to be, and I'm not saying it's a good idea, but it used to be that I would send notes to the district manager, and she would type them up, and when I saw them, they would often look very different than what I sent her.
Yes.
Because she had sort of a standard
Yeah.
look and feel that she wanted to get across. So I'm glad we're not having that problem anymore.
Correct. So I
But that
think,
means that we've got more responsibility on
That's right.
ourselves to make sure that they're,
so does everyone agree that we send those minutes from your committee to your committee members for their review before voting on it?
Sure.
And then when we go to the full board meeting, it's like,
Well,
They've been approved by the committee.
exactly,
Has everyone had a chance to read them? Then they're approved by the board.
exactly.
And when you leave, you have to have them, when you say accept the minutes and the committee minutes.
Mhm.
So, Mr. Chairman, one
Yes,
other
sir.
thing, what Tim just brought up, I think it's important if anyone comes to you complaining about a committee chair, you need to, I would have a conversation with that committee chair, or send them back to the committee chair to
Sure.
deal with it, to give them the benefit of the doubt that it was dealt with.
Correct.
Maybe you connect us on email,
Mhm.
you know, in a very casual way.
So to that point, I didn't want to go into that, but go ahead, Beck. You want to
Well,
say
since
something?
it seemed that it's.
It seemed like we're going right back into that
coming
area.
up, and it's going in there. We're going into it
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah, yeah.
So we might as well just deal with it now.
Correct.
I don't think, okay, if anyone had a complaint of any kind, everyone is saying it should go to the chair first of that committee and be discussed there, and then trying to come to some resolution. But the person chose to come to the executive committee.
Correct.
Mhm.
So the decision that we made at that time was for it to go back to the chair,
That's right.
okay?
Yeah, go talk to
That's
them.
what was discussed.
That's how it should be.
To go back to the chair and find out just what took place in those meetings.
Mhm.
Then we could come back to the executive committee, and before it goes to the full board for board, it would be all cleared up.
Mhm.
That was the intent.
So I was
So-
in remiss, and that's the statement that I want to say. Once I was given the marching orders per se, to come to your transportation committee to table your Empire Boulevard, as well as share with you what was brought before the executive committee of one, the minutes not reflecting the vote, and we should not have had a revote, and two, of our committee non-board member expressing your removal. But that all goes before the executive committee, which it has. Then we should share with you, which I'm supposed to have done, but I was remiss in doing it. So that's why the email went back and forth. The email went out from Terry saying, I want to address the MTOP email. That was the MTOP email, and that was when I dropped the ball. I think I shared that with you as well. Right?
so for clarification then, what you're saying is that it should have been sent back to the committee, but that's actually not what you did. What you did was to table a vote, right?
Table
So
the
that-
whole Empire Boulevard study.
Right, so that was making a decision that was not sending it back to committee. If you'd sent it back to committee, we would have just discussed it at that committee meeting.
No, it was
Instead,
it was
you told the committee what to do.
No, it was to table the whole Empire Study Group to go back to, actually, it was to go back to the executive committee. To table your Empire Study
Right,
Group.
it wasn't, right, so that we could resolve the allegations that was made.
Correct.
Demetrius was supposed to speak to the chair of the transportation committee before your meeting that night about the allegations that was made,
Before the meeting.
and tried to find out exactly.
Right, and
what
I
had-
told him what happened,
Yeah,
which
what
was,
had happened.
right, so then
And
we
we-
should have just moved forward. You should have
Not
accepted what I
necessarily.
had to
Not
say.
I
necessarily,
couldn't
because what
because
we needed
there
to
was
do,
a
we
mo-
needed to, then he needed to come back to the executive committee and said, this has been, this is the, what I have here, I have the minutes, I have the word of the committee that what happened, because I think there was committee members that was willing to write a letter or willing to vouch that there was a vote, and that the committee as a whole, the majority of the committee members voted for the Empire Reconstruction Project.
Exactly as I said.
Yeah,
Now, I
exactly,
spoke
but-
to, and in that, I think I reached out to you, Dan, to ask you, do you recall if there was a vote that night? I know it wasn't captured in your minutes, September or October, because Terry and I looked at it. But you said
But Pearl told me that we didn't need a vote.
but we can't go to Pearl.
So, right,
I had
but regardless, here's my issue. According to the way you handle that situation, anybody at any time, particularly say somebody whose entire motive is stall and disrupt, could come to the executive committee and basically complain about anything. And that would have to stop what's happening at the committee level. And that's what I object to, is that Alicia and Karen were given basically opportunity to stop something that was in process on my committee just by making an allegation. And some of those allegations were pretty serious. Not only that I had lied, What, that I had gotten 3 other white guys to lie for me, okay?
4 other white votes.
4 other white guys. So, you know, that's some serious stuff. What did they get out of that serious lie, if you ask me? They got to stop at the committee the very thing that they were trying to stop. That's a tactic. And I feel like the executive committee fell for the tactic. That's what bothers me. If you send something back to the committee, it should go to the committee, but you should not stop what's happening at the committee until you get to the bottom of it. You can't stop what's happening at a committee. That's not the executive committee's role.
So you know what's going to happen? Let me just share this because it's true, because we're going to get into. Thank you for calling, because it's now 7:30. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk about that at 8:30.
Okay.
Talk about that at 8:30.
At 8:30?
That's the 8:30 minutes meeting.
Okay. Well, there's
That's transportation.
there's one other issue though that came up there that I want you to be aware of. As soon as we're going like along all these technicalities, y'all never voted.
I know that. We'll
Right.
talk about that later on.
Okay.
So let me move right along. So Carmen, glad you're here, Carmen. On the first 2 items on the agenda, which I don't have in front of me, you can share that. Share that.
Yeah.
You're gonna talk on that, right? On tomorrow, those 2.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to be clear on what was going on.
Okay, these 2 gentlemen, this were already presented, the presentation was made, and before the housing committee. One of them is someone who got a notice, 71 Midwood. He replaced the windows after he withdrew his original application, so he got a notice of violation.
You got busted?
Yeah,
Oh.
he got a notice of violation for work completed without permits.
Wow.
So he came before us to get support for his new application for legalizing the work, which he's required to do. 43 Rutland Road is actually already being renovated, because I visited both sites, and 43 Rutland is closed off, and there's work already going in there. What they want to do is expand the masonry opening in the back, because they want to have high windows, basement to first floor windows, French doors, to get more light in. So that's just modifying what's already been approved. LPC had approved smaller windows and whatever, but now they want to expand it. So they came before us. They required to come before the committee, the housing or landmark if it's new construction, whatever, and get a resolution from the community board to support the work that, their application. They 71 Midwood is going before landmark on February 16th, I think. And 43 Rutland Road, which landmark actually sent an email today asking for the resolution, because they have to have it before the public hearing. Their public hearing is February 2nd. So I sent the drafts of the resolutions to Terry, so that she can send it out to the full board before tomorrow's meeting, so that you guys have a chance to read the minutes along with the resolution, and that way it will be easy, it will facilitate, or you have an understanding before you vote on it. So they're not required to present before the board, but they required to be present in case there's any questions from the community, if there's somebody opposing it. But actually, they're required to notify their neighbors to the left and the right of the property and across the street that we are voting, and letting them know of the meeting, the time, the place. And if any one of their neighbors object, they can come to that meeting and object to the application.
You have to provide proof that they notified the neighbors?
Yeah, they sent me a
Us.
copy of the,
Right,
yeah,
okay.
they have to write, it has to be in writing, so they wrote the letter and they emailed a copy of the letter that went to the neighborhood to letting them know what's going on. So at this point here, the presentation would be, they're gonna be downloaded, so somebody might say, well, I don't know what does a cottage window looks like versus, just a double hung door. So we'll be able to say, well, here's a picture of a cottage window, here's, rather than the whole presentation, which we don't have time for that.
So is it, every time somebody renovates a window or
Landmark.
changes
Or
the window in a
landmark.
landmark community, you have to come, or only when you're changing, how do I explain it? Only when you're changing, like on Rutland, Midwood, the back, you're actually changing the size of the window.
Well,
Is that the
on
only issue?
Midwood, but they,
There is so much renovation going on in my neighborhood. I'm on Midwood Street, but Midwood 2. And people have replaced windows right and left, but I don't, no one
Is it
came.
landmarked?
Yeah.
yeah,
They
well,
would have,
they
yeah.
have to apply for a permit from Landmarks Preservation.
But they don't have to come before the,
If there's problems, like in this situation,
Okay, only if there's problems.
what happened was that he originally put in the application, they said to him, you have to look at the house, you know, your sister house across the
okay,
street,
gotcha, okay.
which is, you know, because apparently each side of the street is mirrored to each other but opposite.
Yes,
So his sister house is actually down the street, he's not directly across from him.
okay.
So they told him to investigate that house because they had cottage windows. His had aluminum siding because it was replaced after
Right.
they had gotten landmark. Or during the time that it got landmark, it had aluminum siding.
Mhm.
However, the 1940 photo, the tax photo shows wood frame, so that's what he went back to, the
Okay,
wood frame,
Okay.
because the cottage window that they wanted him to install, the contractor said, we can't guarantee that work because it has stone transom and they said it's not gonna flush against the window
Wow.
and you're gonna be susceptible to water damage. So at that point, his wife got a job out of state and he decided to go, you know, to sell the house. So he said, well, I'm just gonna repair the windows that are there. But in the midst of doing the repairs, according to him, the contractor found a lot of rot, deterioration, and might have been due to the water. So he said, well then, since 1940 picture has wood frame, just go ahead and put the wood frame. In the meantime, he withdrew his application, so LPC said, well, you know, let's go see what's going on over there. And when they came, the windows were, you know, brand new. So they're like, ah!
and you can sell mysteries off.
So you,
And he's gotta put the right windows back in there.
well, he doesn't have to. The windows are actually,
So confused.
you know, as his neighbors, you know, they're all saying it's beautiful, they fit perfect, and it's the same one from the 1940 photo. You know, so it's not like he just went and got this fancy, like
Yeah.
a house that somebody bought in my house. The windows are totally different from everybody on the block
Alright,
because they just put new everything modern.
alright.
So what do they want from us?
We have to have there's a resolution, so they come before us, they present and say, this is what happened, this is what
Right.
happened, this is why I replaced the window. Get support from his neighbors, the neighbors say, as far as we're concerned, the house was better now than it did before, the windows are beautiful, there's nothing wrong. And then we say, well, you know, and we had Ben Edwards, because he's the president of Lefferts Manor, and he knows about this thing, actually come to the meeting and say, is this something that, you know, is rare? And he was like, no, it's done all the time. You know, the previous administration at LPC was more friendly than the current one. You know, he said people will call me and I would just go down there and expedite it, but now he doesn't know a lot of the people there. So based on his expertise and based on, you know, I went to the site myself and I drove to the house and I got out and I walked and I was like, it's not doing anything to the block, it looks just, you know, just as fine
But
as
what are we
well.
voting on? Do we have a say in it?
So the resolution is
Yes.
saying, you know, based on all of these facts that they presented to us, you know, Community Board 9 recommends that LPC approve the application
So
to
it's-
legalize the work that he already did.
So it's in support of?
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking.
What is amazing to me is that one time I was looking to change some windows, and the windows that's on my house is aluminum. They were telling me that I should change it to wood whenever I change it, because that's originally what it was.
Yeah.
So this guy changed it to wood, and they have a problem now.
Well, he changed it to wood based on the 1940 photo. The house was built in 1901.
Like, I know
So
all
even
the
Landmark
time
doesn't know
yeah.
what the original windows look like.
They say
So what
wood.
they did was that they based it on the sister house across the street that has cottage windows. So they're like, well, if that house got cottage windows, then put cottage windows on yours so that you all match. And he's saying, well, that's, you know, that's not necessarily the case, because the house next to mine, that sister house doesn't have transom and the one next to mine does. So the justification wasn't really valid, because if you know,
It isn't.
if LPC don't have proof that there was cottage windows
Then what
and
is
nobody
that?
else has proof, but the photo shows wood frame
Wood frame,
windows,
then it's wood
then
frame.
he just took it back to wood frame.
So that's up,
So
so
tomorrow,
that's what tomorrow is gonna, so we're looking for a letter of
Yeah,
support from
and
the
then
board.
the other one, you know, again, he's just expanding the rear facade, which is, as long as it's done in the rear of the house, LPC really doesn't have an issue with because it's not visible
Mm-hmm.
to the public.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he just wanted to, the work that had been approved was for smaller windows, and now this time they're doing the whole big, beautiful, you know, so they'll be able to look down at the dining room from the first floor, and it'll be like an open, you know, those big house, rich,
Mhm.
nice houses with the wood. And then they want to paint the trimming on the house, on the door, and the windows black. And there's like 7 other houses on the block adjacent to them that already has a black, from beige to black. So it's not really anything that you know, I mean, if I had gone down there and be like, whoa, this is horrible, you know, then I would be like, well, you
Like
know,
orange.
it's really not
So, Carmen,
acceptable.
Like a
did the
color
committee
orange or
vote
something.
to approve both of these, to support
Yeah.
both of these?
All you need is a letter of
So the
support.
recommendation is
Huh?
that we're good to go.
You just need a letter of support and to approve
It's
the
a
resolutions?
resolution which Terry already has it. I
She
drafted
did, I
it
saw it, yeah.
and sent it.
She just wants to approve it?
It's like the smoke free.
Yeah.
There's 3 resolutions that's gonna be voted tomorrow. The smoke free housing resolution, and then 71 Midwood and 43 Rutland Road.
So we should send the resolution to the full board.
Yeah, I
review
sent it
prior
to her last night so
No,
that
but,
she can.
yeah, but she didn't, I don't think she sent it to the full board.
Yeah.
So let me.
So she needs to send it out to the full
I'd like to
board,
read it
and then the minutes will detail like the whole presentation.
But to,
And I think she already emailed the
I saw the
presentation.
rendering of 43
She
Rutland.
emailed the presentation last week for
Yeah.
43 and
Yeah, 'cause
71.
I
But
saw
the
the
resolution she
rendering.
didn't.
But the resolution, I emailed it to her last night. The minutes she got Friday.
Mhm.
So if you look at the minutes and the resolution, you see that the resolution is basically based on the presentation and the fact that there's really nothing, you know, they're really not changing the character of the house. It's actually enhancing it,
right,
you know.
so you guys are recommending that we say yes?
And we,
Okay,
you know,
good.
basically we just recommend, we, you know, we just say to Landmark, you know, we don't have a problem with it.
Mhm.
The committee voted unanimously to support it, and therefore, Community Board 9, you know, is recommending that LPC approve the application. They can deny it.
Right.
We just basically, you know, weigh it in, but they can turn around and say, no, we want the cottage window, or no, you
Right.
can't do this, or no, you can do that. But our role is just basically to look at the facts. You know, if it's not something that's changing the character of the house, if the neighbor, now you might have people come to the meeting tomorrow that are neighbors and say no, you know, then we have to listen to those concerns. Somebody might say no, you know, it doesn't look the same.
So they would have to do that in public session.
Right, but that's why it's done. This is public.
Yeah,
They're
so
not
they would
gonna
have
do
to-
it 'cause they
No.
don't like
Well,
it.
hopefully they can call.
No, they can speak onto the agenda item.
Yeah,
In
those are
business,
the
once we go in business session, correct, because we're gonna talk
Yeah.
agenda item in public session.
Mhm.
But if we go into the vote, we
I'm
can't
just
discuss
wondering,
it.
how much of this minutia do we really have to get into? I mean, do we have to hear a whole presentation?
No.
No, we're not.
That's why
we're
I
not seeing
said
the whole presentation.
they're not required to make the presentation
Mm-hmm.
to the board.
Correct.
We only gonna have the presentation there available because
Okay,
again,
I
even
got
the
you.
committee, some of them were like, I don't know what the hell a cottage window look like. What's a cottage window versus a dumpster
Well, I
window?
wouldn't know.
So it's just there, you know, in case somebody asks a question, we'll say, well, this is a cottage window, this is something, whatever.
So maybe-
And the
That's
owners will be
something,
there to answer any questions, and the neighbors can come and say, you know, I support it, or somebody might come and say, you know, no, I don't think it should be approved.
So then-
But,
cool.
and then the board, you know, just vote on the resolution. If you agree that we should recommend that they approve it, you vote yes on the
That's it.
resolution,
But-
if you vote no.
But how is,
She
how are
sent
board
on
members
January
gonna know?
22nd.
The resolution?
She sent
The-
LPC application for 71, 43, Sea Brews of
Okay.
New York City Smoke-Free Housing, Maple Street
Mhm.
Community
Yeah.
Garden. She sent it on.
The
to
three
them.
applications.
I don't know if that's the resolution.
No, that's
No,
the
no,
resolution.
those are the
Resolution's in there.
presentations.
Yes, that, those
Yeah,
That's in
are.
there.
Can I have the agenda
So that's in
notes
there.
on
So let me move right
My
on.
notes are on the back.
Yeah, we need that back. So the next topic I want to talk about is this, and I was taking on how the old chairs used to do it, and I found myself doing it, and that is once we receive applications from non-board members, usually it was just the chair would just, okay, you know, this is the committee, want to sign off, approve it, and send it to Terry, and they'll put it on file. That's like not giving the chairs the opportunity to see what they want on their committees. And I saw that a few months, and I was like, I'm crazy for even doing that because it's not fair. It's not a dictatorship. So the next thing is any application that comes in for non-board members, Terry's gonna reach out to the chairs of the committees to send you other applications for your approval, and if you wanna appoint them to.
Well, I want to raise the issue, if I may, Mr. Chair, I don't remember protocol.
Go ahead, Clark.
There are some members of my committee, and I brought this to your attention in November, that have attended not one meeting.
Correct.
Not one. And I have asked that they be removed and replaced with any applicants that we have that are interested in the housing committee, because we do have work to do. And it doesn't make sense, based on this is 5 members that have not come to one meeting, have not responded to any communication, have not sent an email saying, excuse my, so obviously they're not interested. They were just, I don't know how they came to be on a committee.
One second.
For removal
So-
of
Yes.
You can do it
the
yourself.
board or just the committee?
Yeah, just
The
send,
committee, they're not board members. Well, one of them is a board member.
But the board members.
but the board members I can take care of.
Yeah,
But
but
the
as far as
non-board
the
members.
committee,
Yeah.
is concerned, I brought it up to the chair that these people have
You
come
can
to no
remove
So
them
you can
yourself.
send an email saying remove them right off.
I don't know how they came to be there, so I
Yeah.
wasn't
And that's-
comfortable
and that's
saying I'm
how-
removing
and that's
you,
what I
because
just
I don't
told-
even know how they came to be
But that's
on
what I
the
was saying from the
committee.
beginning. How those came about was,
Yeah.
once we get the applications, I would say, okay, appointed to this committee, appointed to that committee. It's not me to appoint, because if you're running your committees, you would know who you want on your committee, so you are the chair. I didn't yell at you, Warren. So if you see, so to all committee chairs, if you have non-board members who are not coming to your meetings, because your committees are going to be working, send an email to Terry and say remove them.
Oh,
I
so
don't-
we don't have to communicate with the person themselves, just to Terry.
Listen,
So,
if they don't come, they don't come.
Well, but the.
You want to maybe you want to send a courtesy email out to
I
them.
was gonna say, a courtesy email saying goodbye. So,
Okay.
so Carmen notifies Terry the process is, Terry then sends a note saying you're off the committee?
No.
Someone has to do
Well-
that.
Yeah, so you should send the email
No.
to Terry,
Well,
CCing me.
No, because what I will do is, because of the fact that I brought this up in November,
Mhm.
November 21st actually, I will just forward that email that I already sent.
Mhm.
Because I'm not asking for the removal now. I have
They're
asked
done.
for it since November.
Mhm.
And I was assured that it will be taken care of, but every time the minutes go out and the meeting notice is the same people are on the email.
Mhm.
And in the meantime, we got projects and stuff that the housing committee want to engage with, and we need bodies, and they're not there.
If these people aren't coming, I mean, what does it matter anyway?
They haven't come to not one, so
Because
I don't feel obligated to say
They're
anything to them.
effectively not on the committee.
Yeah,
then,
'cause they
so
never
who
come.
But
cares?
you want to make room for those who may want
Oh, you
to
got a
work.
waiting list?
Well, we have a lot
Well,
of
I-
applications that come in. I think Mike was first.
I just was thinking, how are they going to know? Will a note come from the chair that says you're no longer on the committee because you've missed 5 meetings? There needs to be a step notifying them that
So
they're no longer on the committee.
so for example, in our executive committee meeting that we had, there's 3 board members who were sending courtesy letters out for their removal because they have long, extended absences. So I think maybe the process should be for non-board members who are not attending, it should come from the chair of the committee to Terry and the full board, not the full board, Terry in the board office, and we send that a courtesy letter to email to them. You will be removed before
For non-attendance.
non-attendance of your committee. That's it.
You are removed.
You are removed, yeah.
Should this be part of your bylaws?
It is.
I believe it's.
For
there is
non-board
a-
members,
It is.
For committees.
What's
I mean,
Chair
there's
has-
gotta be a documented process for those people.
But that's the process. You
There's
missed
a-
3 meetings, unexcused.
There's nothing in it.
Yeah, that
I don't
doesn't
think
matter.
there's
Well,
anything
Warren,
for.
I think there is actually.
Yeah, you missed 3
But not
meetings.
for
Here it is
non-members.
actually. It's
For
for, it's
That's
for,
for board members.
that's for
No,
board
for
members.
both, isn't it?
No, it's not. I looked at
It's
it
only for
today.
board members.
Then how do you move a committee member, a non-board member?
That's what I'm saying, it's gotta be.
That's what I was asking.
Well, I mean, if the bylaw is silent about it, and this is now January, we started meeting in September, and that's 5 months worth of meeting.
Well, we need
There's
to do
nothing,
board
I don't think there's nothing to
Yeah.
discuss, you're not interested.
I won't talk about
I can
that.
see if you send an email saying, excuse me, I can't come
They
to
don't even
this
answer when
meeting,
you
but there's
call
silence.
them.
So I actually highlighted that area too. So this is what it says, because I highlighted because I was looking
Well,
at
what's
your
the
emails
maximum
about
number
it.
of people can be on the board?
And it says an appointed member may be removed from a committee's roles by the committee chairperson.
Okay.
For missing
Member or
three,
non-member.
exactly, for missing,
It says none, right?
no, it says appointed member.
Appointed
No, no,
member,
no,
we're talking
no.
about a
I
board
have to
member.
tell you, that
Is that what that
appointed,
means?
I think refers to board
Every-
members.
No, it's appointed member.
Appointed member?
It's
No,
appointed-
no,
What is
you're
the board
interpreting,
member?
I'm just telling you.
Go ahead.
On the committee? What's it under?
An appointed member may be removed from a committee's roles by the committee
That's
chairperson
committee.
for missing 3 consecutive meetings
That's
of the
everybody.
committee.
It's
Or
everybody.
failure to attend
Everybody's
majority.
appointed.
I'll take that.
Everybody appointed.
That's everybody.
So you want to take as everybody?
That's what it says.
Yeah.
It's a
So then when
committee
you say
chair.
appointed, oh, you know what, you're
Appointed
right.
to the
Appointed to the committee.
No, it's right, correct.
Somebody appointed.
Because you know what I'm thinking about? When appointed board members, because it would say appointed board members.
Appointed to the-
Yeah, it says appointed.
So it's appointed
What's
member.
anybody?
Appointed member to the
It
committee.
says appointed committee member, right?
So the rest of, yeah, correct. So missing 3 consecutive meetings
Exactly.
of the committee, or
The board
failure to
members are
attend
not-
the majority of the committee meetings
That's it.
in a period of 1 year, or other cause or whatever provided by the chairperson approves of such, provided by that board chairperson approves such removal. So
But does
it should
that
come from the
include,
chair.
but does that include committee, board, actually not committee,
Of
but
course,
board?
it- yeah.
Appointed board members and.
Appointed
And
Okay.
community members.
I think
No, it's fine with
actually
me.
their
Bylaws
intent
is
That's how I
what it says.
understand it.
was
That's
the
how I
actual
understand
board
it.
members, but we can extend it to, because they're appointed, everyone's appointed.
Appointed to, everybody's appointed to a committee.
All right, so then
So
that's what it is. If you have people who are on your committee that don't attend,
So
send
just
the,
have about 6, so never attend.
send the email to Terry so we can just remove
And
them
then,
off the
so
record.
we can consider it for quorum purposes, we consider
Yeah.
no longer on our
Exactly.
No,
committee.
no, no, committee.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to make clear
No.
that those people are notified if they're no longer on the committee.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Of
So
course,
when the
everything.
committee
Okay.
chairs
Okay.
has a person who doesn't come to the committees, send the email to Terry.
And Terry will then
And
contact you.
Terry will send the email to
Gotcha.
them, official email from the board saying you are removed.
From the
Gotcha.
committee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and because you
course
missed
there-
this date.
Exactly, you will
this
miss
date.
this date, X, Y, and Z. You miss X, Y.
But going back to her point, for quorum purposes, you have to actually replace those people almost right away.
We still have the list of applications of those who applied, non-board members.
Well, until
Not
they,
necessarily,
until
it's just a
they
smaller
raise based
quorum.
on the number of the committee,
Yeah,
on
you
the,
have to
the size of the
replace that.
committee.
Yeah.
which
Yeah, you're right, you don't
one
have to
is-
backfill.
Exactly,
Okay.
because when you have them on the books,
That's
and
when it
they're not
messes your
coming,
quorum.
then you can't
That's
have a
what,
quorum.
that's what messing
Well, the
up.
other thing,
If you
is,
remove them,
but the other thing is, we still have appointed board members who are on the committee,
right.
who still come to your meeting,
You-
if they
you
come
know,
or not.
If you
And
remove
that's
them and
for-
then your committee now is 6,
Mhm.
and you have 4 people coming,
Then you have a
you have
quorum.
quorum.
You have quorum.
But right now, if I got
Right now,
5
we
people
can't
that
do
don't
nothing.
come, so
We don't have
when
quorum.
do I have quorum?
My committee would be down to
If
2
5
people.
If the committee is 9 and 5 people don't come,
Board members
when
on
would I
committee,
get?
I just did it.
Exactly.
No quorum for you.
No quorum for
All right,
us.
let me go on so we can push the 8 o'clock hour.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Okay, so on my committee, which is getting larger by the day, I actually have the opposite problem, which is, as you probably all know, there are people who really want me off this board, and so I was forwarded an email from Alicia Boyd that said, join Tim Thomas's committee so that we can have a voice and remove him, okay? So now there's 4 new members, all of whom are antagonistic to a proposal that was.
But tell me, we're gonna stay on this
No,
topic.
no, I'm
Go ahead.
staying on this topic. This is
Okay.
the topic of board members, all
Okay.
right? So basically, community members have basically decided that they want to take over the community by flooding the office with applications. So I went from having like a nice, collegial, everybody talking to each other, not over each other, to a very rambunctious, difficult meeting. Also, they can do a thing which is, they can tell all of their people who are like, on the same page, don't show up and don't give them quorum.
So where do you wanna get to?
So
One second.
my point is, all right, when applications come into this office, I think it's our duty, you and I, to sit down and discuss whether these people are appropriate.
Well, that's what I said at the beginning. I said that at the beginning.
But I have these people on my
Okay,
committee.
but we can't,
Yeah,
listen,
but
that's it. We can't do nothing for those who are already on the committee.
Okay,
But we
I've got
can-
2 or 3 people who said that they wanted to be on the committee before these people came, and they're still languishing.
We can check and see if we have the applications.
Okay, he was on the committee and then he was taken off.
I don't know why he was taken off.
Well, apparently you told him that he didn't
That's
have
the
his
gentleman,
proper
Dan?
application. Yeah.
Well, he said he has a conflict of interest to join your committee because of where his work title is, for he works for the city or something like that.
It's not a conflict of interest. We have people who work for the city.
Well,
No, he said his work title.
what he told me that night was there's a conflict of interest. He has to check with his job to see if he can serve on your committee. That's what he told me that night.
All right. Okay. That's
Okay.
that's
We
all
also,
well
and
and
also,
good.
and let me just say this too. We checked. He originally was on the sheet or the roster for the transportation
Yeah.
committee. I asked Terry to verify it. We don't have him in the system. We don't know what happened and why he was removed. I don't know.
Okay, it gets
Oh, and
weirder and
I
weirder.
just wanna ask a question, and I guess I can probably find the answer if I read that new handbook that came out. In terms of the composition of the committee, what's the balance of, board members versus community
members.
community residents?
So
Is
that's a
there
very
balance?
that's a very good question. I don't have that answer because it's been presented to me so many times. Like how many people are supposed to be non-board members and board members? I don't know.
Wait a second.
I don't know.
Hold on.
Go ahead, Warren.
Okay, first of all, we've been remiss, because one of the things we haven't accomplished this year is the new bylaws, which happens to cover all this stuff, okay? Because the other ones were very thin, because the people in power wanted as much flexibility as possible, okay? In terms of who's appointing these people to your committee, Demetrius?
So I
They
had
just-
made
they
I just-
showed
I
up
just
and
wanna
suddenly
hear.
they're on my committee. I didn't.
so I had made mention that in the beginning. I said I'm not trying to relive the old ways of the chairs
so
of
I'm just-
appointing.
I
So
just
I had
wanna hear.
appointed
Okay,
those who
so how many, so.
I don't know off the
In
top
other
of
words,
my
the
head.
board members have to be a majority.
correct.
Okay, and the reason being is that you've been appointed to the board by Borough Hall for a specific reason. Okay? There should be a minority of voting residents.
The majority should be board members,
Board members,
on the
so,
committee.
right.
Correct.
So.
That's appointed at the beginning of the year.
Right, so in the new bylaws, that's defined, okay?
Okay.
In the old bylaws, it's not defined.
But we don't have the new bylaws.
But I know, which is a hint.
Oh, so we have to. You're the chair of the.
I got it.
Okay, so let's.
Already, okay, but
So
no.
you should call a meeting
this
so we
is-
can
I'm
get
not
that.
saying that. What I'm saying is that you always have to keep the board members just by the thing of being appointed to the community board in a majority.
Okay.
That's how they do their
Okay,
work.
Period.
That's how they do their work.
Yeah, that's
think
how
so.
they do their work. In other words, you can't have non-appointed people being able
Being
to
in
make
charge.
decisions.
Yes.
They can contribute to it,
Yes.
but they can't be the decision makers, so they're not members of the board.
So then we really need to review those
We
new
need to
bylaws
renew, yeah.
so we
I
can
have
get
them
this
all.
approved.
I could do it tomorrow night.
Unless, well, we can't do it tomorrow night.
I also want to.
One
Go
second.
ahead.
So we have-
I have a problem with the listing
the listing of.
for the committee members.
Okay.
Because looking at my list, I have the way that I'm structuring the committee, I need people. And as Ms. Martinez is saying, is that I don't have the little handful that I have, I cannot really have like a subcommittee. And looking at the list, I have more of city officials. showing as
Oh, we all
part-
do. We all, yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
you
I
don't
don't
have
think
you don't
that
have
this
a board,
should be.
a board member coming in.
And I only have Ms. Hackett and
Yeah.
Blackett, only two people on my list. They are the only two people who are showing to my meetings. And they're the people who comes to the meeting, they are from the committee.
Well, they're ex officio, aren't they ex officio?
Yes.
You know,
Yeah,
and then
it's
you
okay.
have
They
this
don't
long
go. Yeah.
list that show, well, you have all those people, but
So
you
they
find in
don't come.
fact, you know, you don't have all those people, you know, and then I think you only have about 4 or 5 people, and from the time from last year, only 2% show.
So then that's where we have to really enforce the bylaws, because board members who don't attend their committee meetings and full board meetings are subject to removal.
Yes.
So
Because
that's
I
what
think
we
that
do.
the city officials, they are part of all the committees.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
ex
That's
officio, they
official.
don't vote.
And they don't put in, but I don't think that they should be part of the list because they don't show that out. And it makes you feel like you have all those people that you have to work with, when in truth, we really don't have all
Well,
those people.
it seems to me that your situation is mine. You need to send a letter to, you need to
Those
send the email to
Terry.
Terry,
We
indicating who, you know, every committee member, every
Mhm.
committee here,
Those members who
indicating
want-
those members that have not been in attendance. And, you know, I'll drop the email and Terry can send it out, since their communication is supposed to come from the CB email.
Mhm.
And just say, you know, based on, you know,
The board-
our records, the
We actually
committee
have a draft
records,
already, but we
yeah,
should do that.
you
yeah.
have not been attending the,
Mhm.
well, actually, you have attended not one
Now, what's
So,
the,
Mr. Chairman, I'm asking.
And
that
then
I need-
replace those
I need
members.
some people
Okay.
on my committee.
If
Let me-
there's
I wanna read something to
application,
you.
then we need to know who's interested in those committees.
but
I got
any-
3 people I can see.
Any board member can go to any committee, as long as they stay on their original committees, and go to additional committees.
Let me just
So
read
like-
something to you.
Like if I go to her committee meeting, okay, you know, I can participate, so people should go, you know, you don't have to be an appointed member per se.
You
can
can't
go
vote
for
though,
it.
correct?
Huh?
But you can't
You
vote.
can't vote unless you're appointed.
No,
But-
We're
but-
gonna move on right after Ms. Baker.
But what should be looked at is that all the board members that we have should be appointed to some committee.
That-
Well, they
that's
are.
supposedly
That's
done.
happening in
But-
September.
Right, but I don't think, the chairs are saying that they have problems because people are not showing up. But
I don't have a problem.
You're good. Not in your committee.
because your committee is probably like the
That
chairs
and
committee.
transportation.
Everybody want to come to those two committee chairs. Right. I'm on the public safety committee. There's only a few of us that shows up.
Well, the chair has to come himself.
Right. But I think that what needs to happen here, we need to reiterate again to the appointed board members.
Yes.
Well, that's one of my
About what
notes
is to
that I want to
take place.
share with the full board.
And maybe perhaps you need to send out another letter asking them again what committees are
They
they
want to
really interested
interested.
in and want to participate in.
So I'm gonna send.
Because that was
That's
not
easy,
done.
'cause I don't wanna
And then
force
we all
anyone.
should have a list
Gotcha.
of who's on the different committees because we all don't have
Leaving
that.
out the
correct.
ex
We
officio.
all do not
Who was
have
interested?
that.
That is
Yeah.
correct.
So let me read.
Yes,
I agree.
Let me read this letter that goes out to the board members, and maybe we could use the same. Well, we could do the same template for non-board members. It says Article 5.5A of the Bylaws of Community Board 9 states an appointed board member may be removed from the board for cause, which shall include substantial non-attendance at board or committee meetings. Article 5.5B of the Bylaws state 3 consecutive absences or more than 50% of non-attendance at board or committee meetings may be considered substantial non-attendance. In addition, the New York City Charter confirms the existing bylaws regarding absentees. The second paragraph reads this. I'm not going to read the person's name, but it says, since being reappointed to Community Board 9 in June 2014, you have failed to attend 11 regular scheduled meetings of the board. Your name will be therefore placed before the Executive Committee for removal. You may submit a written explanation for your absences,
Alicia.
because every meeting is an open meeting law, shall be removed for your absence, which will be taken into consideration. This is the email this is the letter that gets sent out to board members.
Yeah.
She's for transportation.
Yeah, for 8:30.
For the 8:30 meeting.
So this is the letter that gets sent out to board members. The 3 letters are going out this week, and it's going to be presented before the full board tomorrow night. Okay?
So there are applications that
Yes, Terry has a lot
the
of
committee chairs
Should
can
go through.
go through and.
Yeah, also, if you want, if I needed more board members on my committee. So I asked Beverly and someone else to join.
You want me to join your committee?
No, I didn't invite you.
So let's move on, guys.
But my point is,
Why is she here?
No quorum for you.
So
I'll take you on mine.
Hold on a second.
Come on over.
What's your committee?
8:30.
Oh, that's your committee you have?
Environment.
8:30.
Environment?
I wasn't coming to the
You
transportation.
was coming to the chair meeting?
No, I was just wondering why the Empire study.
I sent the email to you.
No, you didn't send me anything.
I sent you an email this morning. I
I
have
don't
it
think
right
we
here, actually.
discussed this.
Can you hold
But
that?
he's
Yeah,
asking,
let me
he's
continue
asking
this.
me.
After
After
this
this
meeting.
So let me
after
continue
this
this
I
meeting.
understand that,
Now
but he
explain to
asked.
you.
So he's
so
already
I'm
told
just
you.
gonna
So
say
what I'm
that.
going to do, I'm going to show you the email that I sent earlier this morning to you and to Jarvis first, which I mentioned to the chairs, but I'll explain to you right after this meeting. Thank you. So the next bullet is this. Okay, committee chairs. I think it was mentioned last year, we're bringing it up back again. Committee chairs attending the executive. Ms. Board? We got
I
access
thought
to
this was an open meeting.
It is not.
It's a
This is
meeting.
a chair.
It's a chair meeting.
So it's a closed meeting.
It's chairs. Yeah.
It's a closed,
Only for
Chair
chairs.
meeting.
Yes.
it's a closed meeting.
It's a committee chair meeting.
I'm
I
meeting with the,
understand that, but I'm just asking if it's an open meeting or
It's a
closed
committee
meeting.
chair
It's a
meeting.
closed meeting.
Are you a committee chair?
I'm meeting with my committee chairs, Ms. Boyd.
And I am not interrupting. I'm here taking the order.
No,
Okay,
please
sit
stand
in
here.
the front.
You shouldn't be here. Please go to the
Go
front.
to the
Please.
front.
I will.
Thank you.
I was court today.
Can you pass me?
Demetrius, just one last thing.
Yeah.
So at the beginning of the year, we have to reevaluate.
So in the beginning, this
committees,
is September, correct? So
So you don't just stay on a committee
No.
indefinitely. You have to.
So I think what Dwayne had did before, he had a party, but a meeting in the office here with all board members, and you decided which committee you wanted to be a part of before being appointed
Did you put
by
out
the
a
chair.
questionnaire?
Correct. So I think we should do that going forward, but tomorrow night I'll mention it to the full board. If you're not happy with your committee, some members have actually expressed they weren't happy with certain committees, they want to be removed to go into certain committees.
Well,
And we
yeah, because a
accommodate.
lot of people say they were appointed
Yes.
to committee that they would have no interest
Right,
in, and
yeah,
that's
right.
why.
So one of the reasons why I
That's
did
why I
that,
said I should do it over again.
I had left some people on. I think I tried to reach out. I think I've tried to reach out to most to ask what committee you want to be on. If I didn't get you, I pointed out to you because we had a certain time to really submit.
A lot of people didn't get that.
Really? Okay.
A lot of people
Well, we
didn't
know-
get that. I can say that
No, but
clearly and
did
truthfully.
Warren finish what you finished what you were saying?
Warren, Congress said you finished what you were
What?
saying. Did you
About
finish
the
what you were
DP?
saying?
Oh, about
your
the
committee?
committee? Yeah, in other words, you can, people have to be on the committees they're appointed to. But I needed more bodies on my committee. So, and people who knew, certain things, who had certain skill sets and
So much more.
history. So I
I'm gonna
asked
ask this
Beverly to
for the
be on the committee, because we're gonna be really moving into the
It don't matter
organization.
because she's gonna get the tape anyway.
You
so
know,
you don't want to know.
I know. But anyway, so Beverly, I asked Beverly to come on the committee, and, because we really don't vote on anything on that committee, we just do
This
things.
isn't.
And so I did that. Now, she's still responsible to be on housing,
Yeah.
but in other words, so.
Oh,
if you-
hold up a minute.
What
You
happened?
know?
You invaded my
Let me just finish the last two
I'm
bullets.
just trying to
Go
take-
ahead.
I'm not leaving. I
Hello.
love
Yeah, let me finish the last two. Go ahead, Ms. Mann.
I'd like to know if this was a committee chair meeting, why is it being videotaped? That's true.
Because that's expressed this from before. Anything you put on the website is because
Did you put this meeting on the website?
any meeting you have is on the website. You have to have a meeting on the website, and it's open to opens meetings law.
Well,
We
I
have-
want to spend a
so
check
she can
that
come
I
in.
don't like being videotaped. And
Nor
if
do
I say
I.
I don't want to be videotaped, then I can't be videotaped. It's against my constitutional rights.
Excuse me.
I don't want to be videotaped. That's true. It's against my constitutional right.
So let me just continue. Gotcha. Let me just continue on.
Yeah.
So it's every meeting that's held is open to opens meetings law.
Where does it say that it has to be videotaped?
In open
Where?
meetings- in opens
Where?
meeting law.
Show me where. Show me.
Let me continue the thing. We're gonna get on the internet. You able to get access it? Can you access? Because I can't get the Wi-Fi.
If we want to tape it.
Because the way it's written,
But there's an outside and people come in and tape it?
Yeah.
So,
He's gonna get it. We read it over and over again about it. I'm gonna keep moving on with these meetings. The last two bullets is we talked about the application process. We're gonna identify where we're gonna go with that. I do want to introduce why Beverly Newsom is here. Beverly Newsom is going to be heading off of our new committee, which is the Community Outreach / Communication Committee. So I want to thank you for being a part of our new committee chair.
Thank you, thank you.
And with that committee, what's that committee's responsibility? I shared that with you. You want to chalk it up, Ms. Newsom?
According to the chair, the committee's responsibility is to go over the district and identify some of the community's concerns, document them, and bring them back to Community Board 9.
That's great. Who do you reach out to?
I'll reach out to block associations and
So
all
everybody's going to be in the front, okay?
all stakeholders of District 9
Correct.
that want to express themselves.
Community outreach.
I don't know where that came from.
Community outreach and communication.
Yes.
That's like a
Ms.
newsletter.
Bowman?
Yeah. So
Okay.
what the chair also discussed with me
But it's
was
open for however you want to do it.
Right.
But that's the guidelines really to reach out
They-
to.
Can you say it again? What that's the outreach. What's the communications part?
the communications part, like we suggested initially, and he said, of course, just like he said now, is flexible. We want to start. I think we discussed it once before, creating Facebook, but we have to discuss what parameters that Facebook is going to operate from the community aspect, because we do not want them to be able to post anything on the wall. We do not want all kinds of information up there. We want to make sure that it's for community members who have something that the community board needs to know. Because even though there is a communications outreach committee, not everybody's going to be going to the meetings. Not everybody is going to be able to chime in when they need to. And the community board, according to the chair, needs another medium by which the community can communicate with it.
Sounds a little dangerous.
Yeah, can I make?
Yeah.
I think there are other aspects of it we should probably include that. Well, you figure out Facebook.
Well, that's not
there-
the only one. That
That's
was
not
just
the
the
only-
initial conversation.
There's some basic things that we're not doing.
What's that?
Emailing our list every time we have a meeting. That's a tremendous form of communication. If we could get that kind of top of the list.
Email
So-
what?
Our listserv.
Right.
So all these names we have,
Mhm.
they should go out monthly, weekly, to our entire listserv saying, here's what's going on, here are articles to read, here's what we're planning, not just meetings, but everything. Go to the website, there's information here. If we start that
So those meetings are gonna be in
alone,
the front, ladies.
that'll be a terrific start to really communicating with folks. And our listserv should be, I mean, does anyone know how big it is? Is it 300 people?
I can ask
400
Terry,
people?
'cause we have a lot of
Yeah.
people in the search. What she sends out is the agenda.
But that's the kind of thing, we should know what that number, we should know what that number is.
Yeah, yeah,
We should know that our
absolutely.
listserv is 500
4,000
people.
people.
We should know what it is, you know, because that's the value of communicating what's going on, whatever's going on, you know. So I think trying to get that organized and up and running and fluid would be a
So then,
home run.
Ms. Newsom, that's something you can ask Terry.
And in addition to that, just the website should be.
And I was gonna say, the website is refreshing. The
I'll
website.
I'll work on it. I'll work on it. I'll
And then,
let you know.
and
We
then,
can discuss all
thank
this
you.
at
Second
first.
thing I
Yeah,
was
I
gonna
agree.
say, Mr. Chair, is that the website needs to be reviewed, potentially revamped. There's old information on there.
So I want
Those are
to
kind of
express
top
something on that.
priorities that we should attack.
Let me just hit
Yes,
this last
we went
bullet.
over that.
Let me just hit this last bullet before we go into the 8:30 meeting, because I want to share something with you with the website, committee chairs meeting, prior to. Oh, I meant the outreach, then the, Carmen, you had something you want to say too on that?
Oh, no, I was just going to mention to Beverly, and I don't know if the letter went out, but I don't know if you mentioned to her
About the
the
thing you
letter
said.
that was drafted
Yep.
to reach out to the block associations and
Yep.
the tenants
Spoke to the letter.
associations so that they can, so maybe you can facilitate that letter going
And that's
out
what
if it
she-
has to go
That's
now.
one thing to do.
So that we can start visiting, attending those block associations and tenant association meetings.
And that's what sparked the whole purpose why I reached out to Beverly and told her, so she can get that letter sent out, or we send it out, and she can just be, it funnels back to one person, chair.
And one thing that we agreed on, the chair and myself, is that the communications committee will be holding meetings throughout the district. We won't be at 890.
Right.
So
If this is
just
gonna be a
FYI.
regular committee, then it has to be voted on by the board. If it's gonna be a special purpose committee, it could be temporary.
No, this is gonna be a regular committee, 'cause
So
I
you
think we need that as a
You need
regular
to put
committee.
it on the agenda for the board.
Well, you need to write up what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And have
correct.
the executive committee
Review it for us, yeah.
review it. In this case, so are the chairs now on the executive committee?
So that's the next bullet, let me finish. So, having, CB9 is the last bullet, having CB9 committee chairs attend monthly scheduled executive meetings, committee meetings, ultimately joining the CB9 executive committee, being part of the executive committee.
With voting
On our
rights?
bylaws, there is a set chair, first and second vice, treasurer, secretary, 2 members at large. Chairs of the committee should be a part of the executive committee to come and be part of the meeting to discuss any, issues going on. Ms. Carter?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, while it's not on the board's bylaws, the mayor's handbook and the city charter addresses the fact that the chairs of the committees are to be part of the executive committee because they have to have input on what goes on the agenda. And a perfect example of the mayhem that's going on now is because things get on the agenda that bypass the committees, and it should not be. Now, if the chairs are at the meeting when the agenda is being put together, as a chair of housing, I can say, well, this is something that we need to bring to the attention of the board. This is something that we met about. This is something that should be on the agenda. And that's why the mayor's 2015, not 2001 or 1996 handbook that was given out before. There's a 2015 updated mayor's book, which I emailed And I think it was emailed after we had a meeting, and it specifically says that committee chairs are to be considered part of the executive committee.
Correct.
So,
With voting rights?
So we, yes, it should be
Yes.
voting rights.
So then we are, because that supersedes our bylaws.
It does.
yeah.
Welcome to
So,
the executive
and
board.
that's the way it's supposed to be. So
Okay.
we're supposed to have input on what goes on the agenda for the general meeting.
So,
So,
go ahead.
sorry, so we're required to be there. Then, that's what it's.
The executive board. Go ahead, Mr. Moore.
So, but if for some reason we miss those meetings from time to time,
Time to time.
Sounds like you're able to get that letter.
can you make sure that the check and balance there is, before the agenda goes out, the entire executive committee, including the chairs, gets notice and here's the agenda?
To Carmen's point, yes, I think we have to, because that was a mistake.
The draft.
The draft, yes.
absolutely.
FYI, any thoughts? You got until midnight, let us know.
Yeah, and also
It's in the charter.
we should
It's
get
in
the
charter.
meeting notices.
Yeah, we will get meeting notices.
Yeah.
That's all part of it.
Perfect.
All right, go ahead.
One quick question. Is that because you said that the communication committee has to be voted on?
I'm gonna bring it before the full board tomorrow.
Okay, tomorrow.
We are.
No, not tomorrow, following month, sorry. Not today.
Because we had this conversation with you, we're actually requested to
Join.
join our
Yeah.
committees
Yeah.
into one, so does that require, so we'll be now the education youth committee, does that require us
No,
to?
we could just.
We could just go ahead
Yeah.
and join without having to vote or that, okay.
It's just her new one, I wanna get the
You
full
do it
board.
as a temporary thing and see if it works out.
But I think you still should
You can do it
lock
as
it,
September.
you should lock in a date.
Seriously, that's.
Because we could do it as an ad hoc for right now until we make it permanent to the next full board meeting. So you should lock in a date for your next meeting with Terry. And keep,
I
and
can
start,
have an email to her by tomorrow noon. Is that okay?
yeah, and just start working on that letter that Ms. Martinez
Okay.
had drafted up so we can reach out to these people.
Are people appointed already?
No.
The
not
two
at all.
chairs, may I speak?
Yeah.
The two chairs here have Ms. Terry and Ms. Frank, we have two different committees.
Yes, you
And they, and now they're gonna join,
Yeah.
And be
They want to do
And-
youth
and
They're
and
gonna be
education.
co-chairs.
and then be co-chairs.
Yeah.
Okay, nothing wrong with that.
Mhm.
I second it. But it would have been nice if we had known that and that was something that would have been discussed and was taking place.
To the executive committee?
Uh-huh.
Okay. We just-
That was my oversight.
Okay, we asked
It's
him
just-
first if it's even okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, I
And
understand
then
that.
so-
I understand that.
So then it should
But the
go on to-
executive committee has had
Yeah.
two
That
subsequent
was-
meetings since that.
that was last
And
month.
it was last month. and-
Last
and
Yes,
it
last
was,
month you did, yeah.
Last
And
month,
it-
yeah.
It was, listen, it was with all thing going on for the new year, that
It was
my
last
mind.
month.
But
That's
doesn't-
Okay, well then I
intentional.
just put that under the heading of better communication.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got more warrants up for
Thank you.
First of all, if they do that, you lose a vote, because only one of you can vote.
No.
Committee can't- yeah.
No, they can't.
We'll be
No, if-
co-chairs.
Excuse me. If you're at a meeting like this,
Mhm.
and everybody, each committee has a vote, okay? If they have one committee, they have one vote, not two votes. I'm just telling you. Because if that's the
One
case,
vote
then-
amongst all those committee members who are on there, you're saying?
No, in other words, if this is an executive board meeting,
Mm-hmm.
okay, we're all members now and voting. They only have one vote because it's one committee.
Right.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
Because
you
you're-
merged
So
it.
youth and education.
So
Okay.
my
We got one
suggestion
vote.
is to make it a temporary
Temporary?
thing.
Oh, okay.
That's a good point.
I'm just saying.
Michael?
And just in terms of
Okay.
trying to have better communication, and I don't know if this works great all the time, but anything I have to say to the chair, I always copy Terry.
Yes.
Any little thing. Everything, I don't ask him anything telephonically. I send him a note if it's a formality, for something like this, so that Terry has it. If it's something else, like did you watch the Jets game, it's different. But if it's something to do with the business of the board, I generally email him and copy Terry so there's a record of it. I think that'll avoid this kind of issue
Yeah.
that you're referring to, Pat.
Right, that's fine.
Yeah.
And that's not a problem.
Yeah.
But that don't get copied to the executive committee.
But I think the next step is
That's
correct.
Terry should know.
That's
Let me get
process.
this to the rest of the committee.
Right,
So
but
that should be the trigger.
Yeah.
Right, but that
Okay.
doesn't happen, so that's why I'm bringing it up.
Right.
So that we can develop a better way to communicate
Yeah.
with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
And it will,
But
like,
you need a trigger.
and as I expressed, it will get better.
Do it right there.
You know, it has to get better, and it will.
And
get better.
so I have another question about the communications committee. Is there precedent for that at the community board, so you can kind of steal here are the goals and objectives of communication committees for New York City community boards? Do you know if there are others around?
God, same one, but I can do more research.
Yeah, because then that can start your template, and then you can sort of go from
I
there.
think some
and focus
committee
on it.
boards have outreach committees. I think I saw that, like CB3 I think they have an outreach committee. You want to probably check with them, start with them first.
So that could be helpful as a guide. And I wouldn't rush outlining this. I mean,
No, it should take
I would
time.
figure out what it is
Mhm.
and really go back and forth and then bounce it off, maybe the chairs to get their input.
You have that open meeting information?
Yeah, but why
I
don't you?
do.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Yeah, just let her read the
We have
opening
to
book.
take
I'm not
turn
gonna,
off.
especially we gotta go into the 8:30.
Can you
So,
just, why don't you just make that a temporary committee for now, which
Mhm.
you can appoint?
let's do an ad hoc.
See how it
Okay.
goes and refine it, and then when you know the structure and everything else, then you put it before the board to make it.
So Beverly, get some information.
Communication.
Get some information, template like we was talking
Can I
about.
make a recommendation about this as well? That once you come with what the objectives of the committee, the goals of the committee, to share with the chairs and see if anyone has their 2 cents. So that
We'll send out an email so everyone can add in.
add in, and then you guys can edit it down and say this is how it works.
Yep.
This is what makes sense.
All right.
Does that make sense?
To me. All right,
So it's an ad hoc committee for now?
for now
Until we figure out the goals.
Correct.
And this situation here is also ad hoc?
It'll be temporary ad hoc, yeah.
Just one thing, may I?
Yeah.
So, there's this lady, Nicole, she wants to actually partner with the education committee. She wants to meet with us about joining on some projects with the Prospect Zoo, and just trying to find it here. Okay, yeah, it's Nicole Robinson Etienne.
I know Nicole.
Yeah, the New York Aquarium and the Prospect Park Zoo.
Aquarium.
So she wants us to partner with them in certain projects they have coming up. And so I'm just letting everybody know. I think it's a great thing, and I think the chairman and myself should be meeting with her sometime between the end of this month and early next month.
Just meet with your committee.
Yeah, I was going to say, why are you meeting with the
Yeah,
chair?
definitely.
She should be
Your
coming
committee.
before the committee with her
And then make a
proposal.
recommendation.
Okay, because she keeps reaching out that she wants to meet with either the chairman and myself, or the manager and my district manager and myself. So maybe I should just
Let her
have
know.
Terry reach out to her to come to the committee.
Yeah.
She should come to the committee
Okay.
meeting, present her proposal, what it is that she's looking to partner, and then
Right.
you guys are supposed to present that to the board. And then the board decided this is something that they want to be part of.
Yeah, because I think it's not she alone. She's reaching out on behalf of a committee, so I think she probably wanted to put to us what it is that they're looking to partner with us.
Yeah.
Um,
And like I said, I know
You know?
Nicole. She's
Oh, good.
at the museums. You know, she
Right,
does a lot of great
right.
work. They do a lot of great things. They have this nice
So
family
what you're
day at the park
suggesting
or
is
whatever. But
that
I'm
you
saying
have them-
we need
have
to
them come to the committee
maintain protocol.
And committee.
If she's looking to partner with your committee, because that's your committee,
Right.
then she should come before the committee with her proposal, just like this landmark people came to us with a proposal.
Right.
Present the proposal, then you all vote on it if it's something that you want to bring before the board, the full
Right.
board, because she can't partner with the committee, she has to partner with the board. You all can't go on your own and join something and.
No,
So that's what
we-
I'm
we-
saying, he
you
has to
know.
come to the committee,
Yep.
and then after she present to you guys,
Mhm.
then you guys, in your minutes, or whichever way you wanna go, if she has something, if she wants to come to the full board at that point, when you're ready to present to the board, she can come and do her mini presentation, talk about what it is that she's looking to do, and then the board will vote on if it's something that they want to get involved in. You know, I think it's a good idea for us to partner with things. I mean, that's why I'm looking for people in the housing committee, because I would love to partner with a lot of housing organization and people that do other civic service, but I can't do it when it's only 2-3 people working.
Because
So-
she sent out dates that
So I'm gonna ask you to speak on that afterwards. I'm gonna close out, Mr. LeBert.
I just want to say, I was hoping we had more time to discuss this in a few minutes, but what Carmen said is, I think, extremely important.
Yeah.
I think we have to make sure that our procedures, everything that has to do with each committee falls in that committee.
Fall in the committee.
I think if anything comes to the executive board, you hit us with an email, send that to education or youth or ULIP or whatever. And then we deal with it.
Correct.
I don't think the leadership of the board has time to deal with every issue. That's the purpose of the committees. And we cannot fall out of line with that one time.
Correct.
I thought it was pretty clear, but here we are in January, we have another situation like this. And it does a disservice to the chairs, it destroys the process, and it's just not the right thing to do.
Correct.
It was one of the biggest complaints that this board has had over the last decade. There was no process and procedure, and we've done a pretty good job up until this point, but we have to make sure that everything starts in committee, and if it's gonna go to the board, comes from recommendation from that committee. Because we are going to damage our credibility if we do not do that. Yes.
I agree.
Committee, executive, or board.
Correct.
Yeah, because,
Correct. There's a process,
Yeah,
and we
Terry
have to
kept
manage it.
emailing me about it, so I'm glad that I brought it up here, so we take it in that
To the
order.
committee.
Thank you, Pam.
Can I just make one quick thing?
Sure.
We're changing our meeting dates to the first Tuesday, because we have 4 people on our committee that are on ULURP that haven't been able to go, so we're changing it to the first Tuesday, so that all 4 of us can now participate in the ULURP committee, so if you could put you back on your committee, I would
Great.
appreciate
On a
that.
point
Chair.
of order, you
Yeah.
said if we change, you'll be back with us, so we demanding that you come back with us. That's it.
So we're gonna, Ms. Baker, go ahead.
Is that okay? I mean,
Well,
No, I
Ms.
was.
Baker has the floor, guys.
I would want to go back to what Mr. Lyburn said, Michael said about these chairs. I think what had happened here recently was not the intent to usurp
It's not.
the committee's chairs' positions at all, or nor what their duties are supposed to be,
Right.
nor the process.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me lay that out there
Yes.
and be very clear about that.
Yeah.
But also too, the executive committee should be involved in things that are happening here because we are the executive committee.
Correct.
Okay, so I just want to be very, very clear about that. And I'm quite sure the discussion will continue at 8:30.
So I think, and it's gonna continue. So let me just say this, I went in with this.
One announcement, please, I have to.
Go ahead, man.
Hey, Demetrius, I didn't make.
I know, go ahead, I want something to, I have to finish up by saying something, go ahead, man.
Okay, I just want to say that, Francisca has been appointed to the Community Board's representative to
Oh, yeah, that's right.
County Hospital
That's right.
Advisory Board. And she was received with welcome arms.
Congratulations. So listen, I'm gonna send this link to everyone here and a full board of the description of the New York State Opens Meetings Law, which is very important of the guidelines and the boundaries for why this and why this is happening. But I do wanna say, I appreciate your coming for this meeting. That's gonna be meetings held the day before the full board meetings. So I think we're still gonna have the committee chair meetings prior to the full board meetings, and the committee chairs will be a part of attending the executive committee meetings. There is a lot of work, and I'm trying not to fall back into the old ways of how Committee Board 9 was being run by circumventing or some kind of circumventing the committee chair's roles. And I have no intention, one second please, I have no intention of at all bypassing the chairs, and I consider the board as one. So it's not just me, and you take me away, we're all still board members, so that's why I have the meetings, to try to build up a relationship that we can all have an open discussion. So that's one of the reasons why I want to do this.
Can we just have like an executive board meeting and everything is talked about?
We could do that too.
Versus having 2 meetings?
We could do that too.
That'd
So,
be great, because we each
Oh, yeah.
have our.
so we'll shoot our emails back and forth. But I'm gonna ask to close this meeting out. I can get a motion to close this out.
So moved.
So moved. So the meeting that's taking place is the transportation meeting with the executive committee to go over, and you're more than welcome to attend, is to go over the issue with the revote and the allocations of chair. Thank you.
I'm gonna send that man that article.
Yeah, I got one.